Hey there, I'm Rick Tamarin, also known as Mobile Rick from buildatruckcamper.com. And after a way too long process, I have finally completely rebuilt my camper from scratch. And I'm going to give you a short tour of what I've done. Before I do that, make sure, because I'm going to be doing more of these types of videos, so make sure you subscribe. And since I won't be able to show you everything, go ahead and leave me some comments on what kind of things you'd like a little bit of a more detailed tour of in the future. So let's take a look. So here it is from the outside, and you can probably see some of the features. We've got this big aerodynamic scoop on the front, and some little bit of kind of faired out, starting from there out to the actual width, which is 7 feet on the outside, faired on the front with the rounded corners. And looking at it, hopefully it gives at least the illusion of sort of a log cabin sort of feel. It gets a lot of looks from passerby. I think it looks pretty cool. Of course, I've been working on it for so long, and it's like, I don't know about that, but definitely it makes an impression. So I wanted it to look good and put some work into that, but it was really complicated. The main reason, because my goal for this whole thing was to make sort of an ultra lightweight design. So I was using some ideas that you would use for ultra lightweight camper design that you can do yourself. And it did ultimately become way too complicated. I won't necessarily be selling plans for this, because I'm not sure I even recommend that anybody build it the way I did, because it was way too complicated. But you'll be able to get ideas from what I do, most likely. If you want to find out details, just ask questions in the comments, and you can visit buildatruckcamper.com, especially over the future. I'll be putting more, and also on my Patreon as well. So look for that link. So an ultra lightweight design and you can see that it's designed to be a slide-in design. And right now I still haven't installed everything, the jacks and stuff, to make it come off the truck. And because it's not really, I don't really have an application for that. I don't really need to take it off the truck, but when I need to do some maintenance and stuff, it would be good to be able to do that in the future. So you can see that puts a little bit of storage space under there. A big scoop is made of, everybody wants to know what it's made of, but you can see, because I didn't put anything on the bottom, it's styrofoam, and that gives you a hint on how I constructed this entire thing. And you can see that right here where it joints, and it's not covered with paneling, because this is really just it's just decorative paneling. But underneath, this is poor man's fiberglass technique. So what I got going on in there, and you'll be able to see in construction videos if you join my Patreon, then you'll be able to see how I constructed the frame and stuff. So what I did was I constructed it out of strips of 1/2-inch plywood, which are screwed and glued to give a really good solid structure. And it was very solid once I had it constructed, especially with all the bends and stuff. That was giving a lot of counter tension to keep it all together, even though it was just a 1/2-inch plywood. And by framing, I mean that it looks like a standard house framing, or sort of how you would frame a camper out. But I used a plywood instead of any other material. So let's pop this out. As you can see how I did this. It's just tension and one of these latches. Put it up. You can see how it looks from back with the doors open. And got my netting up here. Let's see what I got going on inside. So all this stuff going on the walls, this is acoustic stuff, because one of my primary uses is going to be as a little micro recording studio. I still got to do stuff with the ceiling. This is the old roof, and I could use this time to explain that I wanted to use the old roof because it was difficult to build and it was a good lightweight roof, because this is going to be, it's meant to be a pop-up, and it's going to pop up in the front, up in the back, so that the cabin area has full height here. The area up there in the cab over used to be a sleep area in the original design, but in this case it's just storage space for a lot of bulky items that are going to be up there. And otherwise we just got some little simple cabinets, and these are all going to have fronts to them, as well as some of the areas up there. But just to keep the width of it, I'm going to keep them, what do I want to say, just put some grills on there on the front so that you can still see the full width and you don't feel cramped at all. And other than that, it's pretty simple, but the main thing that I wanted to accomplish is that the other one was just the width of the 5 feet that fit right into the camper bed. And in this case, I wanted to add an extra foot on each side to give me some extra room so that I could put the bed sideways, because I'm about 6 feet tall, so I wanted the full width to be able to sleep in. And I've accomplished that. So that gave me all this extra floor room. And this is, you know, a lot of people like to have it more like a traditional like dining room area, but for me, I love sitting on the floor. So we got out my yoga mat and my little zafu there that I sit on a lot, and I can also sit up on the bed and do stuff up there. And let's see, what anything else, my little cooking area. This is an old thing, but I do want to have a recessed one in the future. And in the meantime, until I get around to that, because that's going to be kind of expensive, but I want to get an adapter to get this propane tank, so that one of these flexible adapters. It's really hard to find, and I finally found one online, but we'll be able to put it back there, make this a little more compact, be able to put a little sink type of thing, maybe there. Under the bed is where I keep my coolers, and the battery is also under there. It's an AGM battery, so it's perfectly fine to keep indoors. I've never ever had a problem with it, and it runs great. I also have a table here that I can pull out. I guess I can show you quick. It's a fold-out table, and you see that the legs are different length, because what happens is, as it folds out, the short leg can be set up there, and it can come out about halfway and make a nice usable table that doesn't cut off my entire space. So it's like a table that sets off to the side with one leg propped up. So that took a little bit of small amount of creativity to get that started. I don't know if you can see my little swamp cooler that you could buy at, I think I got it at Walmart probably, or Bed Bath & Beyond or something. And those are good. I was really excited that somebody finally came out with a simple swamp cooler design. And that was, and it's been really helpful on the hot days. And speaking of, I only just made a hole for, that's my ventilation. So if you've been following my things, I like to have a design where that minimizes the amount of windows. I don't know if you noticed that before, like unlike every other camper who insists on having windows, I believe pretty firmly on all the benefits of no windows. It's a much better, much more insulated kind of thing. Much more secure. It's way up there, so nobody's going to be looking in the window because it's way up, you can't really get that high. But I can still look out and see stuff if I need to. So this keeps it very, very insulated. It got down to, even though it's a summer, in Flagstaff it actually got down to the 30s the other night. And it was cold, but it definitely wasn't too cold. I didn't even notice that, like, I had to put some blankets on, but I didn't have to, like, cover up with everything. So that is it. And if you want to see some more of the progress, I didn't really I wasn't as thorough about keeping videos of every part of the camper build like I was with the previous camper, because it just got way too complicated. I just wanted to get it done, and I was really frustrated for 6 months versus the 3 days it took me to do the first one. So you can also see I had to put a full set of lights on here, go through all the requirements for reflectors and lights that you need to put on, because it's now wider than the 80 inch limit. So I think that's pretty much it. You know, in the future, I'll get these panels secured down a little bit more, but it's mostly, the thing is, it's just decorative. The entire thing is sealed because I used the poor man's fiberglass technique. So there aren't going to be any leaks. It's a completely different, much more solid design than I had in the past. It did unfortunately take way longer, and I'm still working on stuff to get the inside features working the way that I want, so that I can start using it for what I want. There's my little microphone on the stand. And anything else? Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. In the future, we'll just have some more decorative stuff just to make it all look a little bit nicer and a little bit more homey. In the previous one, I really didn't spend any time inside. And when people would ask me, you know, you actually live in there? Well, I live out of it, is what I always said. I just like to be outdoors. I don't want to be cramped on and inside anything, even a house. But in this case, I wanted to be able to live inside a bit more. So I wanted a more homey kind of environment where I would actually enjoy sitting in here and doing some artsy stuff, some music and some drawings. So that's some more stuff that you can look forward to if you join my Patreon. Some this new phase where I'm going to do a lot of music, a lot of art. So hopefully that gives you some good information, but it probably also raises some questions for you how I do some certain things. Probably the only thing I didn't mention so far is I got some little storage bins under there, and you probably notice that it's very aerodynamic. I know a lot about aerodynamics and how to get stuff as aerodynamic as possible, and I really haven't, despite adding 2 inches and a foot above, I haven't lost any fuel efficiency because of this design. Probably, you know, maybe lost 1 mile per gallon on average. But yeah, please ask questions in the comments. Please subscribe, and if you're really interested to learn a lot more of the details of the construction, join my Patreon, and I'll upload all the videos that I took during the process, showing just different facets of that, and at some point may even show you some of my drawn up sketches, though a lot of this was really sort of just making it up as I went along. And so I got a sketchbook full of like, oh, I got to figure out this one now, so I'll just draw up something and see how it works. So thanks a ton for subscribing and commenting, like the video, and we'll have more for you in the future. Thanks a lot.